Hello everyone. Now, today we have a special guest with us. We've got Cecile Fonequignol. Is that correctly?
Franquignol, don't worry. Everybody
Fonequignol.
struggle with it.
Okay. It's wonderful to have you, Cecile.
Thank
And
you.
Cecile today is going to share with us a module that helped her in life. And I wanted her to share it with all of you, with the school, because I believe that it's going to help a lot of you on the way. Now, let me first introduce Cecile. Cecile is born in Belgium. And in fact, she likes to call herself a life explorer. Now, I haven't known her for very long, but I feel that I've known her for a very, very long time, like through soul connection. And Cecile basically has done so many things with her life, and she's done everything that has to do with mind and well-being. She started off her journey as an explorer in the travel industry. She worked for an airline, and then from there she decided to connect more with herself and went back home to Belgium and did some studies. She did training, or she trained in training and in hypnotherapy, and there she came across the Karpman Triangle that really helped her in life, and she has been using this module. After that, she decided to go back to the UK and did more courses on learning difficulties, and she worked in the educational sector. So currently she is into training and moving to adult learning while she is carrying on her life's journey. So I'm proud to introduce her. And Cecile, I want to ask you, why is it that you actually decided that you'd like to share the Karpman Triangle? And for those of you who do not know the Karpman Triangle, it is a very famous module that has been devised by someone called Stephen Karpman. And he actually deals with this module about relationships, like how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive others, and how we tend to actually run away from tackling things by seeing ourselves victim. And I'm going to not say much more, but you can access a lot of information if you like this module online. It's all available for you to download, so we're not impinging on any copyrights here. And I leave this for Cecile to actually tell us more about this module, but I'd like you to tell us more about why you chose this module and how it helped you personally.
Yes, thank you for introducing Stephen Karpman, because it's always useful to know, who proposed models, etc. So he was a psychiatrist, American psychiatrist. And that tool came on my journey when I was training in coaching. Bearing in mind that the Karpman Triangle model is used a lot in psychotherapy, and as well, especially in transactional analysis. So the training I did in coaching was quite thorough, and we did approach a transactional analysis. It was very important to me as it answers some of my question, I would say, some of my blank marks, whatever you want to call it. I was aware that I came from a family where there was issues of dysfunctional interaction. And I was aware that there were different roles that we play. And my mother tended to be a rescuer, as we call them. But we'll talk about the different roles because it can shift. So I personally like that because it gave me a reference. It was like a compass. So I could position myself in a healthier way, or at least acknowledge when I was in unhealthy interaction with other people, so that I could take action and rectify my stance. And it really changed my life gradually. I can reassure people it's totally normal when you come across this tool that you will go through a time of discomfort, because it's going to send you a mirror of yourself with the shadow side, which is part of us. So, and please bear in mind that we all fall at some stage in our life, and several times, so sometimes several times a day in that triangle. So do not panic and think, oh my God, you know, I'm a nourishing and healthy relationship. We're all human. It's just to help you to avoid falling into it, and ideally, if you fall into it, is to come out of it. That's all. So don't beat yourself up. Don't become your own bully. Just take it as a tool to help you along the way. Nothing more, nothing less. So I'm going to share. There's just one slide that I like to share.
So you have actually been using this module for a
Oh,
number of
I use it all the time. Not only when I was a coach, but also I'm just going to share. You can see it, but when I in my daily life everywhere, because it can help you whether you're at work, in your personal relationship, even in the street when things happen. So it's an overall good tools to have.
So it's actually something for a daily, like it can be used on a daily basis, not just when you have a crisis.
It's the idea of it, but
Yeah.
it takes I would say self-awareness and determination if you want to use it on a daily life. It's just like anything, is practice. Maybe taking some reflecting time every day and say, you know, did I fall into that triangle today? Why? What did I do about it, etc. So, you know, the more you use it, the more you refer to it, the better it will become second nature.
Wonderful. So can you please press on the triangle, like the one slide, so that it fills the screen, because we can all see it here, but we can see it with the rest of the editing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fine.
No. Here you are.
Okay.
Can you see? Is that okay now? No. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I think I've got, oh, that's it, because no, I can't do it any, for some reason it doesn't let me do it bigger. Oh, hang on. Sorry.
It's fine. So long as we can see it. There at the bottom, there is
I'm not used to Zoom so much, so sorry. That's probably why.
Okay, so go ahead, please explain.
So if you can see on this triangle, there are three roles: rescuer, which is always can be also referred as a savior; persecutor, sometimes referred as the bully, the villain, and then the victim. And they all have got typical sentence that matched each role. The rescuer will say, "Let me help you." The victim, "Oh, poor me," and the persecutor, "It's all your fault." So I'm just going.
Those are the three types of people that we would.
Yeah, three types of roles. It's important to say roles, because each one of us can switch role. So now that I'm stop sharing, here we are. We can go back. If you remember the triangle, the victim was at the bottom. That's quite important, because a victim tends to feel inferior compared to other people. So the persecutor and the rescuer can have a superiority stance at a certain time when they are in that triangle. So the role can switch by the actor in a way that they all achieve a conscious goal or agenda. And that's very important. So the people who take a role into that triangle generally are unconscious, but they can sometimes be conscious of it. And even in an unconscious way, we can all be dishonest. We have some hidden agenda, or also called secondary benefits, that we want to achieve. And we will do some kind of a manipulation. We can call it manipulation. It's all part of human nature. I'm going to cover the different roles. The victim, as I've described, it can say, you know, something like, "Oh, poor me." So whatever the victim, he's doing is not working, you know, it's just nothing. There's a belief that it's not possible to find a solution. It's the Calimero, we call it. It's life is unfair, you know, I try so hard and nothing works. So the victim can feel persecuted, it can feel oppressed, it can feel helpless, powerless, and ashamed.
So it is for any person on a daily basis, or
a person on a daily basis. So you will find that all of us have a favorite entry doorway, and generally it starts with a victim coming with a situation, and the victim is either in the presence of a persecutor because it's like a good match. Or the victim might create a situation where they will create a persecutor who is not there yet. So the victim is unable to make decisions for themselves, solve problems. So they're going to attract probably a persecutor first, who is a type of a person who is going to feed on the emotion of the victim, and the persecutor will also be somebody who will confirm that the person is in a position of a victim.
What is interesting here, is that is that you're saying that the victim is in a victim mode, not necessarily because something happened to make him or her a victim.
That's it. It's a feeling of a victim mode. It's a stance in life. Doesn't mean that the person is actually a true victim. Of course, if the person is a true victim, is a total different matter. It's a feeling of victimhood. So the person might be in a vulnerable situation, and that's a difference, but not a victim as such. So because some people say, yeah, but if you've been a victim of a crime, that's a proper, you know, true victim because there was effect. Here we talk about a perception of a feeling of a victim of something that we think we can't solve. So the persecutor will come along the way, or as I explained, the victim is going to create a persecutor to kind of feed that victim mode. And then, of course, the victim is probably going to enlist the help of a rescuer who is going to complete a triangle. The rescuer, let help you. And you can see that sometimes when there's a conflict starting, you know, with somebody who's being a bit bully or whatever, and the rescuer is going to come and try to rescue the situation with the big hero logo.
But it has to always be in this trio. Like
it's always a trio, but it generally starts with a victim and a persecutor, and then the rescuer will naturally come. However, I have seen extreme cases where I've observed extreme cases where the rescuer can be the one creating, finding a victim who hasn't even asked for help yet anyway. And then, it can happen that way. So it's very important to know that the entry doorway is quite of a different option. So the rescuer, of course, let me help you, is going to perpetuate the victim's negative feeling, is going to kind of almost enable it to carry on, to continue. And by helping the victim in unconstructive ways, are even going to leave the situation unchanged, because the victim still has got issues not being addressed, not taking responsibility from, and the rescuer is actually falsely helping the person, because helping is...
This triangle is based on the fact that all three are assuming roles that they're not really helping, but they're feeding the energy that they are living upon, whether victim mode, whether rescuer, whether persecutor. It's their need to live like this. Okay.
And those roles have generally, well, all the time been learned in childhood, because that's what you knew, that was your comfort zone, that's what you thought was a right way to handle things. So hence it is very difficult to change if you've been in a dysfunctional family, because it's been so ingrained, repetitive thought pattern and behavior. So be gentle with you. It takes time to change. If you recognize yourself using those kind of interaction on frequently. So if you're already aware of it, it's already a big bonus. The rescuer, so the favorite line is recover is let me help you. No, the rescuer is enabling the situation to carry on, because it's like it creates a codependency relationship with the victim. You know, it enables to feel value in a way that I'm helping somebody. But the rescuer can have that superiority kind of stance unconsciously, like I can help that person. I know better kind of things. I'm more, you know, I'm wiser or this and that. But it's not based on true reality. So you might feel guilty that if they don't do anything, if they don't help, there can be that guilt or shame kind of feeling, and that's coming from childhood, you know, feeling guilty, shameful. So it's based on emotion, negative emotion.
Yeah. So here, actually, I can see that you're portraying the victim is the center stage.
Yeah.
Like the victim, the nurturer is trying, or the rescuer is trying to rescue him, and the victimizer or persecutor is persecuting him. So what about the relationship between the nurturer or the rescuer and the victimizer? Like, do they interact, or is it all just...
Well, funnily enough, because the rescue at some stage, whether they succeed in helping the person or not, is not the point, but the rescuer might end up becoming the persecutor. Because have you had people trying to help you and then coming out with, after all what I've done for you, it's how you treat me? Do you recognize that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, or the rescuer might attract, and it's been my case in the past, a narcissistic manipulator and even a perverse narcissistic manipulator who is a perfect bully, who's going to feed on that shameful emotions from the rescuer and play with it in a toxic way. In fact, that was my for me, that was the experience that pushed me to change, because it was, you know, the poison that heal the wounds kind of thing. It took me to an extreme situation in order for me to work on myself and say what is it in me that attracted that situation. Yes.
So Cecile, here, are you going to give us a concrete example of how it works, so that it kind of like we can be alert on an everyday level, or if this is happening to us, how to, so if we can have a concrete example of how this applies, like not just theoretically, but can you give an example?
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be at work, somebody who say that they haven't got the time to do something. Can you do it for me? For example, somebody who's playing the victim, or I really haven't got the time and I promised to give that to the boss by such a time. And then the rescuer coming, oh, let me help you. I can do it for you. I'm not talking about truly helping the person. I'm talking about somebody who plays and instead of realizing that they were not organized enough, not keeping on track of what need to be done, it suddenly is going to find a solution by enlisting somebody else who might be already overworked. The rescuer forget to ask themselves, have I got the time to do that? Can I manage myself? Is this going to create other problem for myself or for the person? So the rescuer is going to do the work, and then maybe the rescuer at some stage might not meet the target because they were so overworked already, and then it's going to say, I'm sorry, I really, you know, I've tried, but I couldn't do it for you. And then the victim is going to start turning as a persecutor. You told me you were going to do it. I've asked you, you're letting me down. And now I'm going to be in a bad book at work and So another example could be lending some money to someone who is not good at managing their finance. I'm not talking about the true, you know, we all need true help at times, but somebody who's bad at managing and then repeating that pattern of overspending this and that. And you can see that in a family. And the parents coming, rescuing, giving the money to the child, but the child not learning from the mistakes. Yeah. So it's, you know, and then the parents might be ending up in financial difficulty, and the person still not learning how to manage, because every time, you know, it's a child, can I have this? Can I have this? And parent might say no, and then suddenly parents give up, and then they give the child something which is not good for them, or they, you know, they haven't worked for it, or whatever reason. And if you know, the children are very good at that, you know, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this, you know, you don't love me because I wanted this for Christmas. And so it just reflects that it's childhood patterns. Yeah. And then, so that's important before you're going to actually offer to help. Think, am I actually helping the person? And that takes a lot of, you know, you have to think about your emotion. What is it in me? What do I feel? Do I feel that I'm actually willing to truly help the person, or am I just trying to make me feel better because I'm
so it's the question is it about me trying to make myself feel that I'm the rescuer, that I'm helping people?
It's the confidence booster, you know, when somebody's, oh, if I would never have done it without Cecile, for example, you know, suddenly you can feel, oh, you know, yeah. Now, you know, there are situations, of course, where it's true caring. It's a different matter, but we're not talking about true caring. So the rescuer keeps the victim dependent, and so the victim is not learning, and sometimes allowing a victim to fail, because sometimes a victim needs to go through that failure to react. If you stop somebody from failing, they're never going to learn. It's like a child needs to fall and stand up again. So the rescuer stop the victim from failing and learning from the lessons, and stop the victim from accepting the consequences of their action. So in that triangle, there is always a reward for everyone. Has got their reward. Everyone has got their hidden agenda. So the rescuer's reward is that it can focus them away from their own anxiety on their own issues. Sometimes, you know, a rescuer is in a terrible situation, and instead of just acknowledging their anxiety, their emotion, and whatever, they're going to kind of be in a denial mode and just focus on helping a victim to make them feel better, to make them feel they're achieving something. This rescue role is also pivotal. As I said, that, you know, we can all go through the different positions. A rescuer can become a persecutor, but can become a victim as well. You know, I've helped so many people, and I end up in a shithole, basically. Sorry about the words, but it can, you know, it can have that feeling when you feel yourself a victim. The victim can also switch roles, become, you know, a persecutor. Victim could briefly become a rescuer. Like after a while, they might say, oh, you know, if they see that the rescuer is becoming a victim themselves, the victim might become, oh, do you want to talk about it now? Shall we, you know, trying to rescue the situation? It's quite interesting to observe. I've just recently had an experience at work, and I could see it because I was living it consciously. I could see all the different people switching role, and it goes quickly. The persecutor, so the bully, it's quite interesting because it will tend to point a finger. It's all your fault. You know, you can't do that. Every time I ask you something, you don't do it. So make you feel guilty, shameful, which reinforce those negative emotions. The persecutor tends to be controlling, critical. It can blame. It can be having excess authority, rigid, a feeling of superiority. Hence why the finger tends to go down, you know. But the persecutor, if it's being blamed in turn, like if the victim and the rescuer start turning against the persecutor, the persecutor can become very self-defensive as well, because the rescuer might, come with a victim and say, oh, gang together, and then used to you being so, mean to that person. And again, the accusation start, instead of talking from an adult stance, they start pointing the fingers as well in an aggressive way. So it goes around and around and around. So we've covered that the triangle starts generally with an entry doorway. We all have our favorite entry doorway, all of us. So I'm not going to ask you which one is yours, because yours in the group, because I'm very, very intuitive, and generally people who work in well-being, etc. You can suss out which is the favorite entry doorway. Now, we're not talking about stopping from truly caring for other people. We're just talking about knowing where to draw the line, especially if you are working in supporting other people. If you are coaching, are you a rescuer, or are you a coach supporting the other person's growth? There is the question to ask yourself. And it's very easy to fall into the extreme. Very easy. So that's why it's important to work on yourself all the time.
So it's all about presenting the self, like presenting the self in society, even sometimes in front of the self or in front of another. And at any one point, we will be all playing one of these three roles.
Any one point. And, and as I say several times in a day, sometimes.
Yeah. All right.
So it is important to be aware of that. And if for some reason you haven't worked enough on yourself and you fall into them triangles, quite easily, learn how to step out of it. That requires compassion. That requires self-awareness about your own emotion, understanding the other person's emotion, and that requires assertiveness. Why? Because a persecutor is going to learn, by learning assertiveness, is going to be less likely to become aggressive. It's recognizing their boundaries, recognizing their needs, their boundaries, where to draw the line so that they don't start belittling the other person, and maybe get in touch with their anger, with their frustration, whatever, and just say, oh, okay, I'm angry. Instead of accusing the other person, I feel angry because, my needs are not met. Just try to learn to express yourself in a responsible and adult way. The rescuer, by learning boundaries, healthy boundaries, not to be trying to support the other person excessively to the cost of their own, well-being, or not acknowledging their own issues. And a victim will be to learn to recognize their needs. Also, they can ask for help, but only if there is something they truly can't do. For example, something they've never learned. Fine, ask for help. But the victim has got to learn to work on what they can work, what they're capable of. And even like learning something is good, it's healthy.
I see. Yeah. So, good. And do you have something to add, or shall we ask questions? Like, if people...
I'm just checking my notes to see I've covered everything. Yes. So ideally, there are ways of coming out of it, or going inside in the middle of the triangle, where it's like a neutral zone. So if you go deep inside the triangle, you've got all the different roles that interact in a healthier way. So they meet, they can work together, and that's quite healthy, However, if from personal experience, if you in connection with a perverse narcissistic manipulator, trust me, there is no way you're going to get to that healthy middle ground with them. You come out of it, you cut them off your life, leave your job if you have to. Well, I would it's because they will drain you, because they can't see where, you know, they fail your weaknesses, etc. They just haven't got it in them. So it's tiring to try to, you know, deal with them in a healthy way all the time, because you've got to be on the watch all the time. So I would just say, come out, cut them off.
Yeah, if we're in a really toxic
yeah, I'm talking about
person.
you know, proper perverse narcissistic manipulation, not just, you know, because these days we talk about it, I think everybody label, you know, true perverse manipulation is actually not that frequent. There are narcissistic manipulators around, but the really dark one is not that that frequent. So, but you will see by shifting your stance that it will impact other people, because if you want to stop that triangle from happening, you have to stop people trying to get that secondary benefits, that
like
price.
You're feasting on, yeah, that.
And if you will see, as soon as you're aware and you stop that, the triangle will stop. They will either, a victim will find another rescuer, and you can see, I mean, I've witnessed it at work. It was so funny because I came out straight away as I could see they were trying to get me into that triangle. So I stopped it straight away, and the dynamic just changed like that.
Yeah. So it's basically asking ourselves, like when we're doing something, am I a victim here? Am I taking victim mode? If not, am I
you can be very vulnerable. That's a different thing. You can be really going through a tough time emotionally. It's not your normal nature to be that vulnerable. That's a totally different things, totally different. But I'm talking about a victim that used that repetition of always finding somebody to do the hard work for them.
I see. So if it's only if we're addicted to a specific, like poor me, or I'm going to come and rescue, I've got all the answers, or I'm heavy-handed and reprimanding people all the time. Like if I catch myself in a character trait that keeps repeating, it means I'm really assuming a role, and I'm unable to get out of it.
I'm functioning in a toxic way.
Yeah, so
I'm assuming a role that is not helping me and not helping anybody.
Helping others. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Cecile. So let's ask here, anybody who's got a question or an inquiry, or would like further explanation, like feel free to ask a question. All clear? Did you
they're all reflecting.
I'm going to have to listen again to the recording.
You say that because it spoke to you a lot, or?
There's a lot to take in. So before I start asking questions, I think I have to understand and comprehend more, but thank you.
Yeah, there loads of information on YouTube and, you know, on the internet in general. So do some research about it. And if you really want to even ever look at the bigger picture, think about life in a metaphysical position. Sometimes you find that you feel stuck in life. And, you know, if you believe in guides, angels, you know, whatever your belief system is, and you think, oh, you know, nobody is happening, why? And then start helping yourself. And
but what do you call the whole philosophy? What is, I didn't catch the full name at the start.
Oh, as I said, if you look in a metaphysical position, meta position, basically, if you look at the bigger picture, if you look on a spiritual level, if you want, on a soul level, and watch when life is helping you or not, you will find that sometime life is waiting for you, you know, to change. There is a saying in French that say, aide-toi, le ciel t'aidera, help yourself and life, God of the soul, whatever you believe it. will help you. So I've observed that this kind of stance in life can also be viewed on a bigger level, where you will find that your guide, anybody that you feel can help you on a different dimension, will do so, but in the right way, because they don't want to be a rescuer, they don't want to be a persecutor, and they certainly don't want to be a victim. So it's that's why I like that model, because it can go very far.
But what is the name of the model exactly? I was trying to catch.
Karpman Triangle. I'll send the link on the slide on WhatsApp, and you'll find loads of information about it.
Thank you.
But before helping other people with that tool, just work it on yourself is the best way. Understand your own favorite doorway, understand your own emotion, understand you, and then you will understand everybody. That's why it will open up to more compassion.
Okay, Sarah here is asking, do you have to be out of this model? I was actually thinking this because right now I applied the victim mode to myself immediately when I have a problem and loved ones are around, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to deal with this, and they rush to help. And actually, I do this all the time, and they come and rush and help all the time. And I don't do it out of thinking of myself as a victim, but I'm capable of doing it on my own. If they're not around, I wouldn't be complaining. And as an energy worker, I always assume the rescuer. It's kind of like when someone has a problem and I say, oh, come, let's, and sometimes it's overbearing for me because I don't have the time. So we do actually.
Have you got the time to do it? It's one of the questions. Have I got the energy? Have I got the time? Am I willing to do it? Do you really want to do it? End of story. I'm not saying, sometime, sacrificing yourself for a cause can be good, but if you just function like that on all level all the time, sacrificing yourself for a short time is fine, there are situations, but if you do that and carry on being in the sacrifice mode, where do you think you position yourself compared to other people's needs?
Thank you, Cecile. I just want to end on a positive note.
Yeah.
Everybody act from the heart. Act from the heart, and act from a space where you feel you haven't coerced yourself, like, I don't have the time, I'm going to lack sleep. And you did not corner yourself in a space where you can't really relax and have enough time for yourself. Take care of yourself first and then help others. And if you're moaning and groaning all the time, have a look at, why are you doing this? Why do you have the need to do this? Why are you playing this role? Where is it coming from?
And you will just find that in childhood, it was maybe survival mode. You had to play that role because there was no other option at that time. But now you're out of that situation. So you can grow, you can learn to do things and not act from a mental state of mind, as you say, act from the heart. That's why you need to be in touch with your emotion.
Absolutely. And I would like parents here to really study this model, because you're the ones who shape and mold how your children would react and become like, does your child need to always be in a victim mode and crying? Or is your child a bully at school? Or is your child always trying to play the superhero who's helping everyone and he's actually not helping anybody? So it's wonderful. Thank you so much, Cecile.
So I hope that it's going to help you as much as helped me. And once you're aware of it, there is no going back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only forward. It's only forward.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.